Right off the bat, let's just look at Bitcoin breaking through just over a week ago, this upper trend line of this rising channel. There's a $40,000 target to the upside. Does Bitcoin, this is a question for me as we go in this week, does Bitcoin have that momentum that is needed for just this massive surge through massive resistance that Bitcoin is in? That's what I want to explore in this video. While I record this video, just came across this. Stock futures are up as Wall Street looks to build on winning week. If this is a good week for markets and sentiment starts shifting or at least becoming positive, and if the US dollar currency index continues to fall as it has on this daily chart, this could be a big week for Bitcoin. But I want to talk about the massive hurdle in the way, and I just want to talk about what I'm looking at in terms of confirmation on this Bitcoin chart and why I just think it's, as always, important to be careful at these resistance areas. And we'll also look at downside targets as well if Bitcoin fails in the short term to put on the show for the bulls. So I want to start, for context to everything we're going to discuss, with this quick clip from 7 days ago. Check this out. So price range wise, as we enter this 28, it's really the $29,000 to $30,000 level. But we said in that video, even if it's just a little bit lower, 28, this range that Bitcoin is at right now, it's like a 5% range for Bitcoin where I'm anticipating resistance. Now, there's the range. This is what it looks like. This is how it played out. Talk about resistance. Talk about just perfect resistance. For me, this is a confirmation. Just the fact that technical analysis continues to work so brilliantly on these charts. This is a 6 hour, and this is really what it's looked like for around a week, if not over a week, of resistance for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin right now testing that exact resistance. So let's go and start zooming out and talk about what's happening. We got the breakout of the upper trend line, right? We talked about the breakout, kind of a throwback to the trend line. So right now we have this very meaningful consolidation that is testing our patience, especially if you're just somebody that's watching the charts every second of every day. This is testing our patience. This is a daily chart zoomed out. So you can just note up to this $30,000 area of resistance, kind of this consolidation range. We have kind of an ascending triangle looking to set up right now. And so Bitcoin, and just to note, the apex of this triangle actually goes to like the end of May. So this could be a really long consolidation area. That doesn't mean that's going to be how it plays out, but it's one thing to consider, considering we have a $30,000 upside resistance and a lower trend line right around, a lower trend line of the triangle, but it's the upper trend line of the rising channel. But right now we're looking at right around 26,500 or so. That's where Bitcoin is just hovering right now. One thing to note on the weekly chart is Bitcoin, after a massive move, a massive pivot from bear to bull in this green weekly candle last week, extremely indecisive. You could just see Bitcoin almost opening right where it, or closing right where it opened in that last weekly candle. And right now we have a brand new weekly candle in play, just opening right now. So if we go and we start looking at what's actually happening here, before we talk about the bullish case for Bitcoin, right? And that is to say Bitcoin breaking through resistance and the target to the upside, I want to explore something, and that is downside. And in an environment where Bitcoin is falling this week, and why that's not such a bad thing, I want to just show you this. Look at this Bitcoin chart, and this is Bitcoin. You can just see this swing low, and then we have a lower low right here, and then Bitcoin just flying out of this lower low, right? Notice what it's doing here, though. On this Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin breaking these moving averages to the upside, and look at the moving averages, the 20 crossing in green, crossing the blue, and then crossing the 200 in red. And then Bitcoin falls back to test the moving averages, right? Time and time again, if not falling all the way back down to the 200-day moving average. This is the picture of Bitcoin, what it does consistently over the years, over the cycles, bull market, bear market. And the reason I'm showing you this chart is because this is very similar to what the setup looks like on the current daily chart, right? We have Bitcoin, the 20-day crossing above the blue line, the 50-day, and then the red line, the 200-day. And then you can just see all these moving averages. Now Bitcoin is above all of them, right? So similar to this chart, Bitcoin above the moving averages. And so I think it's wise that we can anticipate downside to those moving averages. Now, this is what might blow your mind in case you haven't even noticed yet as I'm doing this video. Check out this chart that I just gave an example of right here. This is actually the bull market high. And this is what a trend reversal on the macro looks like. This is a bull market high. So let me flip the script here. Let me flip the screen. And this is what the chart actually looks like. There's the bull market high that we just looked at. the same thing out of bull markets, which is Bitcoin falling below the moving averages and being pulled into them and testing them, right, before going lower. The same exact thing is what bear market bottoms are made of. It's Bitcoin breaking out of those moving averages and testing them before going higher. And that's a consistency. This is something that if you just zoom out on the daily chart in Bitcoin through all cycles, you'll see Bitcoin doing that. That's why one of the things that I really like to do in my videos is evaluate, well, how overextended from the moving averages, especially the 50 and 20, the blue and green, is Bitcoin? Because when it starts getting into 20, especially 30% overextended from those areas, and there's a really big space there, that's when we start anticipating, this consolidation back into the moving averages. And that's where Bitcoin is right now. That is not to say that Bitcoin's going to fall into them. They could be pulled up into Bitcoin as Bitcoin's consolidating in this new range that it's in. And so from a very technical analysis perspective, Bitcoin is in this perfect range of consolidation, meaning we've broken the upper trend line of a really key area and it's hit resistance, which we just looked at. This is what it looks like on the 6 hour. It's hit resistance and it could bounce around here for a little bit. And this is what we're going to be tracking this week, or at least this is what I'm going to be tracking this week. Now, if Bitcoin were to fall and just fall back into this rising channel that you see on the screen, meaning upper trend line, lower trend line, falls back into the channel, this is where support I'd be looking for, right? We have the 50-day right around 24,000. We have the 20-day right around 25,300. But it really is this swing low where Bitcoin just took off from the 200-day to the swing high resistance. It's really this range down here. This is the area I'd be watching if Bitcoin fell back into the channel itself, and it's right around 23,300 to 21,700. This, if Bitcoin were to start trickling into that area, would give the 200-day moving average time to kind of get pulled into Bitcoin to test that area. All of this could take a while, right? This is if support that Bitcoin has at this upper trend line now, if it fails, right? And again, right now, that's around $26,700 or so. Now, let's talk about if the bulls win and if just momentum continues to surge this week. Maybe that will be off the back of just a sentiment shift, fear kind of leveling off after the banking crisis we just went through and still going on really. But if it's starting to be priced in and Bitcoin has another just move to the upside, this is what we're watching. It really is a 6 hour chart. It's the range up to around $30,000. If Bitcoin can make the move and start just breaking into that area and above, this is what we're looking at on this daily chart now. It would be Bitcoin on its way to this next higher high, I should say, on its way to the $40,000 target to the upside. There's the $40,000 target. Now, along the way, if Bitcoin broke the $30,000 area, and we're looking at, 10% move or so to the upside, we would start tracking that area as support. So just because Bitcoin's breaking that area, it's not this immediate confirmation that Bitcoin's going to $40,000 this week. Actually, Bitcoin would likely, if it broke that $30,000, trickle sideways and test that area, if not fall back into this pattern that we start having, right? This ascending triangle type of pattern before moving higher, right? I don't think $40,000, and this is just how I'm seeing the charts, is going to be something that happens in the immediate short-term future. This is quite a big setup that Bitcoin is playing out. These things take time. These things take, a lot of volatility to play out before we get there. So these are all the things I'm watching. At the end of the day, everybody, we're in this environment now where Bitcoin is it's doing its own thing, right? And even while it's doing that, it's very difficult to guess what the next move might be. But when we use these charts, and if you just look back on videos from even the last month, when you look at how the setup has come to fruition amidst everything that we anticipated, it is absolutely amazing to see how consistent Bitcoin is with the structure of it all. And it's almost like we didn't predict it, but we anticipated almost exactly what was to happen with Bitcoin. And it really started all the way back here with the pattern that we were tracking back here, Bitcoin falling to the 200 and then bouncing out. Like we've been tracking this a while, and now here we are again. We're tracking it once more. We have these areas to the upside and downside that we're anticipating, but it's just, you really have to find your own approach when looking at these charts and make your own decisions at the end of the day in terms of how you're managing your portfolio. Because this video that I'm doing right now, this is just me tracking it. This is just me visualizing what's possible as we go into this new week. And this is what I'll be watching for, confirmation areas. Really curious, really, to see how Bitcoin does up to that $30,000 resistance and how it does to this area of support right around $27,000 or so to the downside. Around $1,000 to the downside, $2,000 to the upside. So we'll see what Bitcoin does. It's going to be probably a rocky week as we see what the stock market does and traditional markets do. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below as we get this week started. I appreciate you. Hit the subscribe and like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.